I 31F never thought I'd be posting here. Honestly, I'm still shaking while typing this. Because he's currently sitting in a rental car outside my apartment building. But let's start from the beginning. Mark 34M and I were married for 6 years. For the last 2, we were trying for a baby. Doctors, tracking apps, tears over negative tests, the whole 9 yards. Little did I know, Mark was also trying with my cousin, Sarah. Sarah was my best friend. She was over at our house constantly, supporting us through our fertility struggles. In reality, they were hooking up in our guest room while I was at work or running errands. I found out in the most cliche way possible, a forgotten iPad. Mark left his logged into iMessage, and I saw a photo Sarah sent him an ultrasound. The timestamp on their messages went back 2 years. When I confronted him, I expected shame. Instead, I got ice. He didn't deny it. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Well, she can actually give me what I want. You're broken, Sophia." I packed a bag to leave, but Mark stopped me. He didn't want me to go. He wanted me to give him the house. "Look," he told me, "the house is in my name. You don't need 4 bedrooms anymore, do you? Sarah is pregnant. We need the space for the family I'm finally having. Just sign the quitclaim and go quietly." I didn't go quietly. My name was on that deed to thank Dad for insisting on that preconveyance. I filed for divorce the next morning and slapped him with a restraining order after he tried to break down my hotel door to discuss the property. The divorce was brutal, but I got my half of the house equity. I sold the place to a developer, packed my life into a U-Haul, and moved 3 states away to a city where nobody knew my name. Fast forward 18 months. I'm in a healthy relationship with a man who actually respects me, and I've never been happier. Then the messages started. Sarah left. She took the baby. She's been seeing some guy from her gym for months. I made a mistake. She's exactly like I was, and it hurts so much. Please call me. I'm in your city. I just want to talk. I miss our life. Yesterday, I was coming home from the grocery store when a man stepped out from behind a pillar in my lobby. It was Mark. He looked terrible, gray, thin, and desperate. He dropped to his knees right there in the lobby. He started sobbing about how Sarah cheated on him just like he cheated on me. How she took his kids and moved in with the other guy. And how he finally realizes I was the one. I didn't even feel angry. I just felt disgusted. I looked down at him and said, "Mark, get up. You're embarrassing yourself. You had a decade of my loyalty and you traded it for a thrill. You told me I was broken. Well, I'm fixed now, and you're just a stranger. If you aren't gone by the time I get to my door, I'm calling the police. You used up every chance you ever had." I walked away while he was still begging. I blocked the new burner accounts. But I finally feel like the weight of that house and that marriage is off my shoulders. I didn't think I'd be writing an update so soon. But the comments on my last post were right narcissists like, "Mark, don't just go away when you tell them to." After I walked away from him in the lobby, things got significantly more intense. Apparently, after I went upstairs, Mark didn't leave. He sat on the floor of the lobby and refused to move. The building security had to physically escort him out. According to the guard, Mark kept screaming that I was his wife and that I had stolen his future by selling our old house. The audacity of a man who tried to kick me out of my own home because his mistress cousin was pregnant, now claiming I stole his future, is actually breathtaking. Once he was out of the building, my phone became a war zone. Since I have his main number blocked, he must have spent the afternoon at a coffee shop creating new Gmail accounts. I received over 40 emails in 3 hours. The tone shifted from "I love you" to "You're a monster" every 5 minutes. For PM, "I remember the way you used to look at me. I know that girl is still in there. Please, let's just have dinner." For 15 PM, "You're heartless. You moved away and left me with nothing while you live in this luxury apartment. You probably bought it with my equity. Side note, I bought it with my half of the sale and my own promotion. But okay, Mark." 5 PM, "Sarah is telling everyone I hit her. You know, I never did that. You're the only one who can tell the truth. Help me." I reached out to a mutual friend back home to figure out why he was suddenly so desperate. Turns out, the happy family facade crumbled about 6 months after I left. As it happens, when you build a relationship on a foundation of lies and betrayal, you don't exactly have a lot of trust. Mark was constantly paranoid that Sarah was cheating on him, ironic, right? So he became incredibly controlling. Sarah, being who she is, did exactly what we expected. She found a guy who owned a local gym and started training with him at 11 PM. The kicker, the baby isn't even Mark's. The mutual friend told me that during a blowout fight, Sarah admitted she had been seeing the gym guy since before the divorce was finalized. Mark had blown up his entire life, his marriage, his reputation, his relationship. with my side of the family for a child that isn't biologically his and a woman who used him for a place to stay. At 9 p.m. last night, Mark showed up again. This time, he didn't just sit in the lobby. He managed to tail someone through the secure door and started pounding on my actual apartment door. I didn't open it. I didn't yell. I stayed perfectly silent, pulled out my phone, and recorded the audio while my boyfriend called 911. Through the door, I heard him sob. I gave up everything for you. I told her I didn't want the baby. I wanted you. Just open the door and tell me you still love me. The police arrived 10 minutes later because I already had the old records from our divorce and the restraining order history. They took it very seriously. He was trespassed from the property and spent the night in lockup for violating the peace and harassment. This morning, I woke up to a quiet apartment. My boyfriend made coffee, and we didn't talk about Mark. We talked about our upcoming trip to Italy. I realized something while watching the police lead Mark away in handcuffs. I spent 2 years mourning a man who never existed. The Mark I loved wouldn't have cheated with my cousin. The Mark I loved wouldn't have tried to make me homeless. He's not a man in love. He's a man who lost his safety net and is mad that the net moved on and built a trampoline. I'm changing my number today. I've already spoken to my building manager about adding his photo to the do not admit list for all staff. He's a ghost to me now. A loud, desperate, pathetic ghost.